Respected President Dr. Sanjeev Singhal, Honored Chief Guest Dr. M.C. Mishra, Guest of Honor Dr. Sanjeev Yadav, Distinguished Speakers, IMA Office Bearers, Press, Media and my dearest fellow delegates. नवाजिश करम शुक्रिया मेहरबानी आज यहाँ पधार जो आप सब ने बख्श दी मुझे जिंदगानी. You are all welcome aboard the flight number ECS TW, that is Empowering Clinical Skills Through Workshops of MEDIFEST 2015, launched by IMA Moradabad, IMA's annual CME team. I, the captain of the flight, Dr. Archana Tandon, with her co-pilots Dr. Shalabh Agarwal and Dr. Nitin Kumar, are ready to take off. So tie up your seatbelts and get ready for the flight. First of all, I would like to thank a few people without whom we would not be sitting here enjoying this wonderful flight. First and foremost, our honored chief guest and guest of honor for accepting our invitation, all keynote speakers for finding time in their busy schedule to join us and share their inspiring and thought-provoking perspectives on advances of medical science, my friends Dr. Hitesh Bhatt, Dr. Shilpan Gondalia, Dr. Amita Sharma, and Dr. Nitin Shah, and Dr. Shivani Sajdev Kaur, who traveled long distances to be with me to boost up my morale and to participate in the CME as speakers and moderators of workshops. You, the members of IMA, for bearing with my truthful outbursts, my workshop coordinators for helping me in executing my dream project of holding 4 workshops successfully and a session of moot court to be held in addition to CME, Dr. H.S. Singh for his efforts and hard work in the neighboring areas, as also for his enthusiasm, which was very infectious, Dr. Divya Goyal, the editor souvenir, for bringing out a wonderful souvenir, Dr. Nitin Kumar, the organizing secretary, for carrying the plans to the hilt and doing full justice to his post, Dr. Shalabh, the vice chairperson, and Dr. J.P. Tandon, the best coordinators in the team who kept the morale high by superbly mediating between the headstrongs and those at loggerheads and gently smoothing the wrinkles which are bound to happen in any organizational process. Dr. Babita, our honorary secretary, IMA Moradabad, for keeping us on our toes, and last but not the least, Dr. Sanjeev Singhal, for believing in my ideas and making me the organizing chairperson. Completion of any project requires teamwork, comradeship, cooperation, and discussions avoiding argumentations, healthy atmosphere, and blessings of elders. Fortunately, we had the best blend of all of these. कोई आज तक न समझ सका ये उसूल गुलशने जीस्त का कि वो ही फूल नजरे कैज़न हुआ जिसे एतबारे बहार था. Last year, with me as the organizing secretary, we had launched a new concept of holding academic sessions in 2 halls. We advanced this year further on that path by giving our CME a national resemblance by holding successfully 4 workshops for the first time in the history of IMA Moradabad annual CME. I wish to see the organizing committee of the next year to carry this league forwards by holding live workshops and more interactive sessions as part of CME. Well, what do you understand by workshops? To some, it may be just where the husband works and the wife shops. But here, we just finished with a lovely presentation on understanding the practical aspects of medical advancements to empower our medical skills. In addition to this, as the organizing chairperson, I have an important statement to make to the medical profession, to you, the doctors of our city and of the nearby areas, regarding uniting to save our fraternity. My stress today to the young clan of doctors is to develop an understanding of the importance of management lessons, of developing an understanding of medico-legal issues, and of being well versed with the constitutional rights in the country and associations of fraternity bodies of which they are a part, so that they are not misguided, misjudged, and misused by their clients, public and office bearers in general. And so, believe in yourself and stand for your rights. CMEs, in addition to the specialist subject talks, in general, should also incorporate talks which teach us, the doctors, to develop these special skills which are not part of our regular medical curriculum but are so much necessary to practice modern medicine with dignity, safety, and honor. We, the doctors, form the most undervalued segment of our society that saves lives and relieves pain and suffering to make the people live and carry on with their lives in good health. There are those in every family, in every community, living on every street in our country who historically would have died or would have never been conceived or would have never been born alive, or whose mother would have died giving birth to him, or who would have died in infancy or childhood or in the prime time of his life, had it not been for our fraternity. Disease and trauma can be overwhelming. Not everyone can be saved, but everyone has a family member who has been saved, often multiple times throughout their lives, and in even far greater numbers than those who have been saved from mortality are those who have had their years of life and quality of life immeasurably increased by medical treatment of their chronic conditions like diabetes, their blood pressure, heart disease, joint disease, depression, infections, injuries, and cancer. We make the diagnosis, we counsel, we prescribe the medical treatments, and we perform the surgery. We treat, we heal, we cure the population so that they can go on with their lives without any disturbance. And yet, our nation does not treat us, the doctors, as the invaluable resource we are. To understand this, we must first openly recognize that there are many cultural sectors with decidedly anti-physician sentiments. The word physician is a common noun, often intentionally used to avoid using the term doctor, which is an earned title. Becoming a doctor takes extreme efforts, commitment, and sacrifice. In college, while others spent their afternoons playing football, we had to initially indulge in courses of inorganic chemistry, biology, and physics, for which the labs alone took all the afternoon, and that was just to prepare for the All India Entrance Examination to try to get into a medical school in the first place, followed by 10 to 12 years of rigorous medical curriculum. Doctors are now marginalized as a special interest group and caricaturized as avaricious. Doctors often are cited for the purpose of inciting class envy. These are the ploys of the political demagogues and journalistic iconoclasts, and they should be ashamed of these ploys used against our community, even if unintentionally used. This is not professional of them and not true. We are now cast as but one of the many stakeholders in the healthcare system. We are now in for a healthcare system that will be a common noun incorporating all pathies. In fact, the widespread shift to the use of the term healthcare will constitute the triumph of the non-physician stakeholders as also the anti-physician stakeholders to dilute the doctor's role, that is our role. Healthcare will be so effectively inserted into our national lexicon, like it has been in America, that there they use the term conversationally, but we need to make the public understand that doctors don't do healthcare. Doctors practice medicine. Doctors diagnose. Doctors diagnose, doctors counsel, doctors prescribe, and doctors perform surgery. The unique and special nature of knowledge and skill required define our learned profession. We should be bold enough to ask our government the reasons for this inappropriate ways in which we are being treated today. Specifically, to what extent have our national and state governments, their bureaucracies and policies harmed our doctors and our nation's medical system? And what can we do about it? By asking the government, we should not be considered as anti-government, for if you want to be a real human being, a real woman, a real man, you cannot tolerate things which put you to indignation, to outrage. You must stand up. I always say to people, look around. Look at what makes you unhappy, what makes you furious, and then engage yourself in some action. The challenge for every one of us is to be strong but not rude, to be kind but not weak, to be bold but not bully, to be thoughtful but not lazy, be humble but not timid, be proud but not arrogant, have humor but without folly. The two basic assumptions our national and state governments make that cause harm to the medical profession and thus ultimately harm patients are that they know better than we do and that they should tell us what to do. Governments are literally, gravely wrong in using these assumptions, for this over-regulation is in fact harming our society. For lawyers, documentation establishes legal proof of something. From this arises the notion that creating more proof is a good thing. So we should assume that no job is complete until paperwork is complete, and further that if we didn't document it, we didn't do it. Although there is no evidence that regulation-mandated documentation improves any outcome, doctors and nurses today spend half of their work time not on patients but on producing required documentation. What a shameful systemic waste of crucial resources. Even with that, insurers widely use documentation excuses as an alibi to not pay doctors and hospitals. Keeping reasonable records in some understandable form is necessary, but documentation has become a false god, and government must stop forcing us to serve it. We should be serving the patient. The voluminous free medical care poured out daily by doctors and hospitals in this country has been unacknowledged for decades. Believe me, no doctor does mistakes purposely. Slowly behind the scenes, commercial insurers successfully are assuming controls similar to governmental controls, thus unleashing the dogs of managed care. I call them dogs managed care. The enduring legacy of this misattribution has been to destroy the patients and the public's confidence in their doctors, and the government has seized on that to regulate us even more. Poor outcomes and complications are no longer understood as consequences of dreadful disease and injury, but are seen as obvious evidence of rampant medical incompetence. The combined effect of the cultural, journalistic, legal, political, and governmental injury of the medical profession in creating today's anti-physician culture can reasonably be called war on doctors. What can we now do about this? We can ask our government for national medical realizations. I would ask our IMA leaders, as also our CMO, Dr. Sanjeev Yadav, to make the government realize that throughout our country, in every family, there is someone alive today who would be dead, or someone who can see, hear, think, breathe, eat, speak, sit, stand, walk, or work again, who would not be able to do so had it not been for us, the competent Indian doctor. Allopathic medicine is the quintessential example of exceptionalism, not as criticized by some by an assumption of superiority, but by its ability to use its advanced techniques of medicine, surgery, and diagnostic tools for better patient care. This address is to recognize that though we are just like the rest of the population arising from humble beginnings, we have become what we are through incredible hard work, constant personal sacrifice, and at a cost to our families that few of the common public can understand. To be a doctor today is to represent a great pursuit of any adolescent's dream, and our nation should place far fewer barriers in our path. We request the leaders to request the government to refrain from intrusion into our profession, for equating us to being providers, and for forcing us into make work of documentation and compliance burdens, to make the government realize that the system which they plan to pursue by expanding the base of healthcare providers and equating us with the other pathies will slowly put us out of business, closing thousands of small hospitals and nursing homes in coming decades and hundreds of private practices in coming years. A problem which USA is facing in recent times, and we, instead of learning from them, are going head-on into it. We should vow to work together in unison to warn the government of the forthcoming doom to our fraternity. Let not our children dread to take up this profession. Let not the intelligent class run away from accepting this branch as their profession. Let not there come a stage where we are forced to get ourselves be treated at the hands of the less able. The only one who should tell a doctor what to do is the patient, not the government. Let us pledge this day to unite against the threat to our fraternity from all the quarters so that we can serve humanity better without fear. Nearing the end of my address, I want to thank my foundation pillar, Dr. J.P. Tandon, my husband, who has the structural design similar to a Japanese foundation which is capable of bearing the thrust of earthquakes of a very high magnitude of beyond 7 on Richter scale, and without whom I would not be standing here. My children, Arjun and Anuja, I love you and thank you for traveling miles to be here with me on this day. I end my address with a poem written by me to acknowledge my colleagues in the organizing committee, as also all of you for your generous contributions, whether it be by financial support, by way of helping in the organizational process, or by mere presence, to boost our morale for the CME. It describes in short our efforts and is titled A Mission to be Accomplished. A task to be done, laziness abandoned, it was at no one's behest, but to fulfill Dr. Singhal's request. During the satisfying travel, never did once I feel the uneven gravel. Fully supported by my team, I rode to fulfill a dream. We planned and executed in unison. Slowly we moved in the forward direction. Experts in the academic field we pursued, our determination never getting subdued. We honed up our caliber as the luminaries queued up to deliver, to brief us with the best in the subject, well understanding our primary object. Our parent body is being benefited as the plan is getting executed. As this day of fanfare has dawned and has taken off fairly well as planned, all the participants have contributed to its success, and I can feel the vibrancy as I stand here to address, with our academic thirst quenched and our souls fully drenched. We thank the Almighty as we start off with our CME. With one sentence for the youngsters sitting here, I leave this stage. Let those who bury you know that you are seeds and you are capable of growing into tall trees. Goodbye and happy conferencing. Thank you.